Hello everyone, we're going to do another instructional video today. We're going to look at drawing out a full orthographic drawing. So we've learned how to draw lines, parallel lines, we looked at drawing some shapes yesterday. Today we're going to put that all together into one final drawing. So for this drawing we are going to do a block drawing. So I'm going to just draw a small example of what the final drawing is going to look like here. So we're going to have a top block, a front view down here, and then a side view. Okay. First thing we're going to do is the borders around the outside of our paper. So we're going to have a kind of standard format that all the drawings are going to be following after. That way that they all look the same. So on one of the sides of your paper, you're going to measure in 1/2 inch and put a dot. Then go down to the bottom of the paper and you're going to do the same thing. Then we're going to twist our ruler and make a line that goes all the way down around the outside. Think of it kind of like a picture frame or something. Okay. Now we're going to repeat that across the top, right, and bottom. All right, once you have all 4 sides drawn in, you can go back to the corners and erase out any extras in the corners. Okay, next thing we're going to do is start with one of the shapes and find one of the corners that we're going to use. So I'm going to start with the front view, which is going to end up being down in the bottom left here. And I'm just going to place my corner about 1 inch from each side. Okay, this does not need to be perfect. You just want to get it relatively close, and I'll put a dot for that. Okay, from there we're going to draw what I call some reference lines. So reference lines are drawn really lightly, and they help you keep your shapes lined up with each other and all your lines parallel. So you're going to take your ruler, measure this distance right here. Okay, mine is a 1/16 less than 1 3/4 here. Okay, so I'm going to take whatever distance this is. I'm going to measure up the same over on this side. Okay, same way that we did our borders, and put a dot there. Now this line that I'm going to draw is going to be very light. So let me get my ruler lined up. I'm going to just barely draw a visible line. Basically just the weight of the pencil makes that line. Then I'm going to do the same thing going up the left side. So measure over to the edge of the page. This one is right on 1.5 inches. So I'm going to come up here, 1.5 inches, put my dot. Again, really lightly so I can barely see it. Eventually we're going to erase these lines out at the end. Okay. Now that I have my two reference lines in, I can draw the sides of my shapes. So this side is going to be 3 inches. This is going to be 1.5. This is going to be 5.5. So I'm going to take my ruler, line it up with my reference line. And now I can draw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. This way I'm going to go up 3 inches, again starting with my reference line. Okay, to get the other two sides of my shape here, these need to be parallel lines. That's why we practiced that yesterday. So this line here is going to need to be parallel with this line over here. So in order to get that point, we're going to measure over the same way that we did this bottom reference line. So from the top of our shape here down to the bottom of the page is 4 3/4. So I'm going to come over here, measure up 4 3/4, make sure I hit the edge of the page there, put my little dot. Okay, I'm going to draw a reference line up here as well. Really light the first time, all the way across, and then I can go in and draw my actual line to be 5.5. And this last line, because we measured the other sides, these should line up and be straight up and down. And then I'm also going to draw a light reference line going up. Okay, now as you have your reference lines in here, the rest of the shapes are a lot easier to draw in. So to get the side of this shape, I'm going to space out my shapes 1/2 inch. So from the 10 mark here, I'll go up 1/2 inch. That's be the start of my shape, and then this is 1.5 inches tall. So up to the 12. That's my side there. This way I can do the same thing. Line up with my reference line, go up 1/2 inch, then go up 1.5 inches. And now I'm just connecting these dots. I'm going to go back and erase out the extra reference lines. That's why you want to draw them very lightly so that they come off the page. So this is 3 inches, this is 5.5, this is 1.5. And for this last shape, we're going to do the same thing. We'll come over, line this up with your reference line. You're going to come over 1/2 inch, go over 1.5 inches on top. Half an inch, 1.5 inches, and connect up these lines here. And there you have a fully drawn out orthographic drawing. Last thing is put your name on there. You can draw a box up here if you want, or you can write it on the top border. So this is one way to do the drawing. You can do those steps in lots of different orders. You could start with the top block and then move down to the front block. You could start with the side if you wanted to. You can draw out these reference lines first and then fill in the rest of it, or you could do these ones first, or the way that I did it was these ones. So it's kind of just like a puzzle. You have to figure out a way that makes sense for you to do it. The important things to know and to see on this drawing are that my sides line up, right? So this side of the front face lines up with this side of the top face, just like we saw in that video. Same thing over here. This side lines up with this side. These two sides line up. And all of these sides are parallel to each other. And then all of these sides are also parallel to each other and to the edges of the paper. So when you're making your drawing, focus on making sure those lines are parallel and that your shapes are lined up with each other and that everything is also the correct measurement.